And thank you so much for joining me here today. To start off, NVIDIA is working closely with the U.S. government to ensure new chips for the Chinese market are compliant with export curbs. This is according to CEO Jensen Huang on Wednesday. Here's more.
NVIDIA is working with the US government to ensure its latest chips comply with controls on exports to China. That's according to Chief Executive Jensen Huang on Wednesday. The firm has commanded more than 90% of China's $7 billion market for AI chips. But analysts say the latest US curbs create an opportunity for rivals to muscle in. Huang didn't comment on earlier Reuters reports that his company was delaying the launch of new chips especially crafted for China. He would only say that NVIDIA was working closely with Washington to ensure its products complied with the export controls. When posting its November earnings, the chipmaker warned that it expects a steep drop in fourth quarter sales to China as a result of the restrictions. Huang noted that the country normally accounts for about a fifth of NVIDIA sales, but he didn't say what the new number might be. He described Chinese tech giant Huawei as a formidable rival. Separately, Huang said NVIDIA was in talks with Singapore about a big investment there. The city-state has been developing its own AI model, dubbed Sea Lion.
A deadly surge of migrants at the U.S. border building up once again. In just 24 hours, more than 3,000 people tried to enter the U.S. At the epicenter of the crisis is Eagle Pass, Texas. Here's the report.
The unprecedented migrant surge on the U.S. southern border has forced thousands of migrants, including Lorean's and her 3-year-old son from Venezuela, to wait outside for immigration processing in 2 states, Texas and Arizona.
So you've been here for hours, ya tienes horas.
Federal authorities temporarily shutting down 2 international crossings with Mexico in the last week and redirecting port of entry personnel to process migrants. In the Del Rio Border Patrol sector, migrant apprehensions have exceeded 2,500 per day some days this week, according to a law enforcement source.
We need somebody from D.C. to come over here and see this problem.
Maverick County Sheriff Tom Schmerber, a Democrat, says the influx puts a strain on his limited force.
I don't have the manpower and I don't have the equipment.
His deputies respond to drownings on the Rio Grande. Scenes like these, showing an unconscious migrant mother getting CPR while her children scream, have happened too often in the last month, making Maverick County the deadliest area for migrants in this 10-county border region, says medical examiner Dr. Corinne Stern.
Have you seen these many drownings in a very short period of time before?
No, not like this, and especially not at this time of the year.
Dr. Stern says in the last week or so, 6 migrant children between the ages of 0 and 15 have drowned in Maverick County alone.
It's horrible. We shouldn't be burying our children.
Lorean's shows us the water was about knee-high when she carried her son across the river.
She says that she gets emotional because it's just been a very tough journey. Would you invite President Biden to come here to Maverick County?
It'd be great. It'd be very, very good. I think that it would help him a lot.
In Arizona,
why won't the president meet with us so we can address community concerns?
The sheriff of Cochise County, a Republican, also calling on President Joe Biden to visit his border state.
This is frustrating, it's insulting, and for us trying to do everything we can to protect our citizens.
Daily migrant apprehensions in Border Patrol's Tucson sector have nearly doubled in just months, a Homeland Security official says. Smugglers are dropping off large groups of migrants in remote areas, creating a transportation nightmare, according to CBP.
We need the federal government to act.
Arizona's Democratic governor also frustrated with the Biden administration's border response.
We need the federal government to step up and do its job and secure our border.
As for Lorean, she is counting her blessings after surviving the journey.
¿Lo harías de nuevo? Would you do it again? No más. No. She says that she would never do it again.
Her message for migrants? Stay home.
Leading economists and bank CEOs are urging Americans to prepare for a sharp downturn and possible recession next year. The U.S. economy is on track to grow 5.3% in the third quarter, then slow to 1%, according to the National Association of Business Economics. Much of the third quarter's spurt was fueled by traveling and experience purchases, which experts don't see flowing into the fourth quarter. At the same level, that is. Reduced consumer spending is one factor, Citigroup CEO Jane Fraser noted, of a looming recession to a Senate banking committee. She also included the two wars overseas, persistent inflation and rising debt. JP Morgan Chase's CEO Jamie Dimon made a similar case at a summit in New York, saying interest rates may go up and that might lead to a recession. In fact, JP Morgan's head of technical strategy warned Americans to prepare for the S&P 500 to crash 23% to 3,500 points by next summer and a recession to take hold. Bank of America's CEO, on the other hand, sees the Fed being able to pull off a soft landing, cooling inflation without hurting economic growth. The U.S. job market appears to be showing signs that it's weakening heading into 2024. Companies are not hiring as much and fewer people are quitting. Resignations in October held steady at 2.3%. Economists believe this could mean workers are less certain about the labor market, especially since October saw a lower hiring rate and millions struggling to find new roles. This year's employers have only added an average of 239,000 jobs a month through October, compared to 400,000 jobs a month on average last year. Little is changed in October, with the unemployment rate at 3.9% and a reported 6.5 million unemployed Americans. As the labor market cools, it's up against the lowest number of available jobs since early 2021. Job openings in October fell 617,000 to 8.7 million. Healthcare and social assistance was hit hard and lost 236,000 jobs. Finance went down 217,000, and hotels, restaurants, and bars fell by 124,000. A more troubling sign is businesses say they don't see a need for as many holiday workers this season. Despite the declines, job openings remain historically high, exceeding 8 million for 32 straight months. FBI Director Christopher Wray pressed senators on Tuesday to renew the U.S.'s sweeping global surveillance powers, citing threats from Iran and China. Wray made the case to a Senate committee that surveillance authorized under Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act is vital to national security. Wray argued that letting 702 lapse at the end of the month would be devastating to fighting cyber threats and terrorism threats. Lawmakers on both sides have scrutinized the government's surveillance powers in recent years and introduced legislation to impose new limits on searching through Americans' communications. Elon Musk's artificial intelligence startup xAI has filed with the U.S. securities regulator to raise up to $1 billion in an equity offering, according to a filing on Tuesday. Here's more.
Elon Musk's artificial intelligence startup is set to raise $1 billion through an equity offering. That's according to a filing with US regulators on Tuesday. xAI launched in July this year with some pretty big goals, understanding the universe no less. Musk says his AI will be maximally curious, though he also continues to warn about the dangers posed by the technology.
Well, I think we are seeing the most disruptive force in history here. We will have the first time something that is smarter than the smartest human.
Fundraising for AI projects remains a bright spot for startups this year. Among other deals, ChatGPT maker OpenAI secured $10 billion from major backer Microsoft. xAI last month launched its own chatbot dubbed Grok to rival ChatGPT and others. Musk has criticized competing products from big tech firms like Google as being riddled with censorship. His startup will be integrated into social network X, which he also owns, and available as a standalone app. The team behind it comes from Google's DeepMind unit and other top tech names.
Eli Lilly on Tuesday said its recently approved obesity treatment Zepbound is now available in U.S. pharmacies and could cost $550 a month for customers whose health insurance does not cover the drug or half the list price. Take a look.
Eli Lilly on Tuesday said its recently approved obesity drug Zepbound is now available in U.S. pharmacies, becoming the latest entrant to the fast-growing market for weight loss treatments. Zepbound's price range for consumers largely depends on health insurance coverage. Those without it could pay as much as $550 a month, which is about half the list price. Those with health insurance could pay as little as $25. The lucrative market for weight loss drugs is expected to grow to about $100 billion by the end of the decade. Wall Street analysts expect sales of Zepbound to reach about $2 billion in 2024. Novo Nordisk's powerful obesity drug Wegovy, by comparison, is expected to make $7.3 billion in sales next year, according to a Barclays analyst. Both are in a class of drugs originally designed to treat type 2 diabetes. Shares of Lilly were up in Tuesday afternoon trading. The company's stock price has surged 60% this year in the run-up to the introduction of Zepbound. The drug maker is now the 10th most valuable public company by market capitalization.
And holiday giving data are in, and they appear to be disappointing. Americans are breaking records when it comes to holiday shopping, so why are consumers shopping but not giving back? Here's a breakdown of the numbers and what experts are saying about consumer trends.
Are fewer Americans donating to charities? That appears to be the trend according to this year's Giving Tuesday numbers. Giving Tuesday CEO saying this: "We are concerned to see a decline in participation in line with giving trends from the past year. Data shows roughly 34 million Americans participated in Giving Tuesday. And while that sounds like a lot, it's actually a 10% decline from last year," the CEO said. To put that in perspective, more than 200 million Americans shopped between Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and Cyber Monday, according to the National Retail Federation. So the decrease in the number of donors isn't because Americans are tightening their wallets.
Consumers are thinking about their wallets very differently.
Holiday spending is surging. Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales broke records this year. Adobe Analytics says $9.8 billion were spent online on Black Friday. That's up 7.5% from last year. In Cyber Monday, sales were even stronger, $12.4 billion, up almost 10% from last year. So clearly Americans are spending, but this year experts say shoppers are being more specific about how they spend.
They're buying things they really care about. So rather than buying 10 t-shirts, they're buying the 3 shirts and the brands they really care about.
While inflation is cooling, the Federal Reserve has raised interest rates at their fastest pace in 4 decades. Because of that, it appears Americans are being picky about purchases and spending.
Next, we take a look into the business side of the famous Dyker Heights holiday lights displays in NYC, where professionally decorated houses are said to have millions of lights and is a major draw for tourism. NTD's Sean Marshall has more.
The Dyker Heights neighborhood holiday season lights displays. The lights generate an estimated $10 million in revenue for local businesses each year. One of the most popular areas in America with some of the most elaborate, professionally done displays you'll ever see. 2 private decorating companies, B&R Christmas Decorators and DeMiglio Decorators, handle most of the neighborhood's extravagant displays. B&R, for example, has grown to be the area's largest decorating business, serving more than 100 Dyker houses. Each house takes between 3 to 5 days to decorate, with the minimum cost for a job being $1,000. Tours, food vendors, and assorted street souvenir salespeople can be seen all around the area. It's been estimated that Dyker Heights Christmas lights attract over 200,000 visitors each year. The Dyker Heights Christmas lights have been featured in numerous films and television shows, including Elf, The Amazing Spider-Man, and The Good Wife. Sean Marshall, NTD News.
Next year is looking like a banner year for cruise vacations, as travelers across all income and budget levels have been booking voyages at greater volumes than even before the COVID-19 pandemic. This is according to U.S. cruise operators and travel agents. Here are the details.
Cruise ship operators are steaming ahead to a potentially strong 2024. U.S. cruise operators and travel agents said travelers have booked heavily for next year, even more than before the global health crisis. Cruises are in demand as they are widely seen to be cheaper than land-based alternatives, and with such popularity, operators plan to hike prices in the coming months. One CEO described the market as extremely strong and picked out the high-end luxury part of the sector as doing a roaring trade. One industry watcher said bookings made in November for next year were about a fifth higher than in the same period in 2019. Royal Caribbean Group CEO Jason Liberty also said recently that demand was outpacing 2019 levels by a wide margin. Trade body Cruise Lines International Association said about 35.7 million passengers are expected to set sail next year, up from 31.5 million in 2023. The figure is about 6% more than in 2019. But there is one big catch for cruise lines as demand soars. Bookings could be held back due to a lack of capacity. Carnival CEO Josh Weinstein said earlier this year volumes for next year will fall back as the company could run out of inventory to sell. Smaller operators also say volumes are overflowing.
A new color-shifting fabric developed by a Hong Kong research team combines polymeric optic fibers with AI technology. Researchers on the team believe the intelligent textile, which made its runway debut at Milan Fashion Week earlier this year, can make the fashion industry more inclusive and sustainable. Here's the report.
"I'll have one in every color" may one day be a saying of the past, thanks to this dazzling color-shifting fabric developed by a research team in Hong Kong. The garments on display here are embedded with a tiny camera and use artificial intelligence to generate an array of colored illuminations, from lush purples to vivid reds. The intelligent textile was showcased at Milan Fashion Week earlier this year, and the team behind it believes it could push the fashion industry towards a more inclusive, sustainable, and vibrant future. Jean Tan is a member of the team that developed the glowing fabric at the Hong Kong-based Laboratory for Artificial Intelligence and Design, or AIDLab. Their research focuses on the integration of AI with design.
So we have used a polymeric optical fiber with textile-based yarns. So when you touch it, you can see that the hand feel is just like any ordinary knitted fabric. So it actually is very soft and very tactile.
Not only is the material comfortable, she says, it could also be used for rehabilitative purposes.
Because multisensory stimulation is something that is very common for, it's a form of well-being for a lot of people with dementia, people with learning challenges. So it actually encourages their well-being and gives them a sense of calm, and also a very easy way for them to have engagement and direct response. So by having a simple gesture or simple movement, they can see a color change. This is how they will be able to get instant reaction.
For instance, a thumbs up triggers deep blue, a finger heart gesture elicits pink, and an OK sign prompts a jewel-toned green illumination.
You can take a picture of it.
The latest feature even enables wearers to choose colors from photos on their phone and project them onto the fabric. Researcher Miffy Yu also underscored the sustainability benefits of their technology.
你買咗一件可能係個 shape 啊你中意嘅衫啦，咁你可以因為個材質啦，跟住就去轉件衫嘅顏色咧，咁其實就唔會好似其他可能年輕人咁樣啦，可能買咗佢一個款好中意啦，咁就可能買晒佢所有色啊咁樣。咁萬一佢之後唔中意個款嘅時候，就抌晒啲衫啊，咁就造成浪費咁樣咯。
AIDLab hopes that the technology will one day be commercialized. It's currently on display in installations at shopping malls and other locations in Hong Kong.
And 'tis the season to think about rewarding the people who help us all year long, but in recent years, holiday tipping has run up against inflation, record credit card debt, remote work, and more. So take a look at the new and old rules for tipping.
It's time for end-of-year thank yous to those who make life a little easier.
When it comes to holiday tipping, the easiest thing to think is that it's really holiday thanking. It's a time to say thank you to the service providers in your life.
Amid high interest rates, rising credit card debt, and lingering inflation, it might be challenging. But as Americans face more options to tip every day, Bankrate's Ted Rossman says they seem to be drawing distinctions with those they see more often.
Everything from
complaining about the pre-entered tip screens to thinking that we're just being pressured too much and tipping has gotten out of control. I think a lot of people are separating that. Now, maybe some of it is that holiday cheer and goodwill.
The Emily Post Institute has a full list of holiday tipping recommendations on their website, emilypost.com. Some examples: for a regular babysitter, up to 1 evening's pay; for a dog walker, up to 1 week's pay or an equivalent gift; for a barber, up to the cost of a haircut or a gift; for a trash and recycling collector, $10 to $30 cash or a gift if that complies with municipal rules; and for a handyman, $15 to $40 or a similar gift. But Lizzie Post says those are just guidelines. It's the sentiment, whether cash, homemade treats, a small gift, or just a card, that really matters.
You might not be able to afford to hit all of them on your list, and that's okay. You can always write a card stating your appreciation to anyone, and this is a great time of year to do just that.
No movie studio or franchise gets it right every time, not even one built around Marvel superheroes. Marvel Studios just saw its biggest box office bomb. Take a look.
She tore a hole in space. There's a different reality leading into ours.
The Marvels is part of a painful new reality for Marvel Studios. The film will likely play in theaters a few more weeks, but it's tracking to be the lowest grossing MCU movie of all time. And Variety reports Marvel parent Disney says it will no longer report international grosses for the film, with its box office now winding down.
Houston, do you read?
War has broken out below. And we were told to take the ISS by any means necessary.
War on Earth affects the U.S. and Russian crews of the International Space Station in ISS. This is a look at the first trailer for the thriller set in orbit, due to land in theaters January 19th.
And thank you so much for watching NTD Business. That's all for today. We'll see you next time.